Right, I've just dealt with that moth emergency. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going here. Might not talk for a bit and just kind of do stuff. I'll probably do a little montage edit of what I'm doing here, so you don't have to literally watch everything I'm doing. So a little quick trick that you can do with flex times tempophone mode on a hi-hat, if you just grab and stretch that out a bit. Let's make it a little more extreme. You can get a kind of nice scrape that way. Yeah, it sounds kind of interesting. I want some more kind of clicky things in here, to be honest, so that's kind of perfect. It's kind of woody stick sound. I can probably make a nice couple scrapes, a nice little scrape with this. So let's do the old copy paste trick on this thing. So let's make that. That's really good. I don't know what this will be like. Join these guys together again. A fade on that. Just been setting up some different panning on the tracks, particularly these scrapes. I think it's nice to have these different ones happening in different speakers, so you get that kind of different textures happening in different ears. This is all kind of just for like random, by the way. Going to do something here, convert to new audio file. Just going to put a 2 on the end of that. The reason I had to do that is because I want to reverse this audio file, but if I use the reverse function, it'll do it to all of these copies of that file. So I just had to make this a unique file so that I can do functions reverse. Now I've got a reverse. So I'm going to stretch that like that. Something I also like, let's get some sort of bloops. Hang on a sec. Yeah, so this kind of thing should work pretty nice. Let's get a few ridiculous sort of, got a nice transient to it. Let's just make a oh, I love that one so much. Oh, there you go. So here, I want to show you a cool thing that I like to do sometimes. So you can see here, I've got this in the acoustic drums, there's that triplet fill happening, right? And if I just copy my hits over that I've done, because this perks run is in, it's on the grid, right? You can see all of these hits are happening on a grid line. That's going to clash with the tripletiness of the drums, the acoustic drums up the top, right? So something I like about having programmed the acoustic drums is visually having that as a reference, so I can easily pull some of these perks below to happen there. We can also highlight all of these. I'm actually just going to do a bunch of random stuff here, just to illustrate why this is really fun. Let's just copy some stuff out randomly. Don't quite know what's going to happen here. Should be good fun. Okay, so let's copy that over. And let's just highlight all of these blobs. And they're all on grid values, right? So a little bit messy. If I highlight all of those, come back up to this, what is it called? List view, list editors, and hit this quantize button, which I've set to quarter note triplets. You can see there, it just, hang on a sec. You can see it all nudge everything around. And now not the best thing that I've ever done, and I've kind of rushed through this a bit, so like I would usually be really picky about each sound that I'm using, so that they're like, well, exactly what I'm intending to do, but I'm just kind of grabbing things and chucking it in quickly to build something here. But yeah, hopefully you can sort of see how I like to make glitchy patterns, or this is one way to do it. One more thing with reverse sounds, other things that work of course are reverse cymbals. So let's just get hang on, let's get like crash. Pretty ridiculous, right? But let's just drag one of those in. I'm going to reverse it and create a nice long sort of tension whoosh. I'm going to call that whoosh snare and whoosh cymbal, because I like referring to these as whooshes. And yeah, again, you can see that you can create different things happening via the different usage of whooshes, basically. So you've got your short whooshes like that and your long whooshes like that. And generally speaking, I haven't done it here, but it's nice to have a variety of different ones. So maybe up to 3 or 4 different snares for whooshes. Let me just get an extra one in there actually, just to kind of show why that's good, because it gets a bit repetitive having the same one. Like if you realize to look out for it, it will get repetitive hearing the same one over and over again. So let's just try. Now you've kind of got that established, you can basically just copy paste that over to the next bar. And the general idea is in this second half here to go through and just vary each of these sort of patterns of doing. A thing with like IDM production is things like not repeating themselves and like a new thing happening basically every bar, or like something is constantly changing. So when you've kind of put things in this setup and this environment like I have, you obviously can just visually see everything all in one, and it just becomes really easy to kind of shift things around and fuck about with it basically. So something that you can easily do actually, if you literally just grab everything and just, if I offset that, so let's just drag that so it's now off. But yeah, that didn't quite work. And yeah, you can hear that like you have to sort of adjust some things to fit with the flow of whatever I've done in the acoustic drums. Something I'm going to do with these blips and perks, I'm going to route these all to a bus. Right, so let's just say bus 10. Let's call that Bloops bus, and create a track for it so I can see it here. And now basically all of those hang on, let me give these a different color just to make it a bit more apparent. So all of these blue slices here are now coming out of this bloops bus. So so you can hear and you can see that now if I anything I do here on this bloops bus will only be affecting these parts of the whole groove, right? So that means I can put effects on them as a whole group. And let's just try, for example, like putting on a little bit of chroma reverb. This is just a reverb built into Logic. And let's send the dry back through so we get our dry samples. Turn that down. So you kind of get some reverb on just those perk hits. Let's see what that does in context. That's something that you can start to do, kind of mess around with effects processing, just certain parts. Can be fun to put. Let's try like putting a flanger on all of those as well before the reverb. So that's kind of cool because you're getting that contrast between like some of the sounds are happening in like a reverbed space and the others are like right up close in your ear with no reverb. And I think, yeah, just that contrast between like putting things in different spaces and like right up close to distant and messing about with that quickly is good fun, I think, anyway. Okay, so finally, one of the things that we can do manually is add some little one-off incidental kind of reverb and delay effects, and they kind of help add a little bit of spice and depth to things as we go as well. So for example, you could do this with like, I like again kind of like bloop sounds. Cool. So something like this, right? Let's drag that in, and it's not really much on its own, right? I'm going to stick it on the one here for now with my cymbal crash. So this little bloop here, I'm going to put a delay on that, just a standard Logic echo. And you can change the speed of the delay with this menu here. I tend to like quarter note dotted. I'll show you what that sounds like. So you get that dag, 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 dag kind of thing happening from it. And now let's just stick a load of reverb on that. Again, I'll use Chroma Verb because it's built into Logic. So just showing that you don't have to have spicy third-party plugins to make cool sounds. Let's turn the decay up ridiculously. On the EQ filter, I'm just going to put a bit of EQ in so that the reverb doesn't get like muddy. So we only really get like the top part of the sound. Let's put that at something absurd, like 20 seconds, 17 seconds of reverb delay. Now, if I hit spacebar on this little guy, let's just create one more delay hit to use somewhere. A clap sample can also work quite nicely for that. So let's duplicate this delay hit channel, right? But then let's put, that's quite a nice clap sample. So let's put that on one of our snare accents somewhere. I'm going to use my acoustic drums as a guide to find the snare hit. Jesus Christ. Sorry for killing your ears there. Let's make sure that's reasonable volume. Pretty much, that's quite a small amount of stuff to have done there, but yeah, kind of gives you a bit of a starting point of reference for some of the sort of creative things that you can do with this method. Okay, let's wrap up by having a little listen through to everything that I've just done there today. The thing I really like about this technique is the fact that it's possible in basically any DAW, and it's not reliant on having like a specific drums plugin or like a drums hardware synth or anything like that, or a sequencer to do this. You don't need any of that stuff. You can just use the software that you've got as a sequencer and the effects in it to do cool things like that. You know, I also like to have everything in this environment because you can just easily see everything on the screen like this, and like once you kind of know what you're looking at, it becomes really easy to understand like the relationships between all the elements of the percussion section. Playing with things and experimenting is really fun. And you know, like there's some things that have happened today where I've just like put hits in and done a bit of quantizing without even having an intention or like knowing exactly what's going to happen when I do it. And by doing that, it's like really exciting. You know, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. That's given me an idea that I wasn't necessarily thinking of when I started doing this. And it kind of leads you on this like experimental journey of making a song where, yeah, you kind of make it up as you go along, right? But via the process of laying stuff down like this, it kind of helps you to imagine and think where things could go, you know? The only caveat doing things this way, the only negative I think, is that it's obviously pretty time consuming and it's a labour of love, something that you should spend quite a bit of time on and kind of pour a bit of heart into it, you know? I'm going to go another level up further with this, and yeah, because there are some extra methods that we can use that are actually a lot quicker to achieve, and you can kind of get crazier sounds with it than is even possible from doing it this method. But through the combination of all of these approaches, I think you can create really interesting stuff basically. So yeah, I shall be back in the next part where I'll be talking about making this even more detailed and interesting with particular effects processing and some stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, and hopefully catch you in the next section. Cheers.